Okay, section 32, part 2. This is a non-calculator question this time. So the standard deviation of the sample of numbers 1, 4, 6, 3 and 6 can be written as a root b over 2. Find a and b. So we'd normally rely on a calculator with standard deviation questions because they normally come up in calculator papers, but the number's quite small here, so this should be quite easy to contend with. So as usual, I need to find the mean first. So that's x bar equals 1 plus 4 plus 6 plus 3 plus 6 divided by the amount of numbers in the sample, which is 5. Total that up, so 1, 4 is 5, plus 6 is 11, plus 3 is 14, plus 6 is 20. 20 divided by 5, and the mean is equal to 4. So set up our standard deviation table. So the numbers in the sample down the left hand column, 1, 4, 6, 3, 6. So x minus x bar, 1 take away 4 is minus 3, 4 take away 4 is 0, 6 take away 4 is 2, 3 take away 4 is minus 1, and 6 take away 4 is 2. We then square all of those. Minus 3 squared is positive 9, 0 squared is 0, 2 squared is 4, minus 1 squared is 1, and 2 squared is 4. And then total up the third column. That will be 9 plus 4 is 13, 14, 18, and that is the total, which is sigma x minus x bar all squared. So I can now return to my formula. Standard deviation is the square root of x minus x bar all squared over the sample size take away 1. So that's then the square root of 18 over the sample size take away 1. Well, the sample size was 5, 5 take away 1 is 4. So we're now looking at some surds. Root 18 over 4. Well, that's just root 18 divided by root 4. Well, root 18 is square root of 9 times 2. So 9 being the biggest factor of 18 in my square numbers, over root 4, which is 2. That's root 9 times root 2 over 2. Root 9 is 3, so that's 3 root 2 over 2. So we can see clearly that a is equal to 3 and b is equal to 2. Okay, we're next going to look at interquartile range and semi-interquartile range and medians. So a median value is another measure of a typical value. The interquartile range and the semi-interquartile range, like standard deviation, are statistical measures of spread. So this question, we've got 10 couples took part in a dance competition. Their scores in the first round were 16, 27, 12, 18, 26, 21, 27, 22, 18 and 17. And the question is asking us to calculate the median and the semi-interquartile range. First thing I need to do to get going is to put the numbers into numerical order. Okay, the numbers in numerical order. I then do a check, so I've got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10 numbers. So since 10 is an even number, to get the median, Q2, that will lie in between two numbers. If it was an odd number, it would lie on a number. So for an even number, it's in between two numbers. So I think it's in there, so just check. You've got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 numbers that way, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 numbers that way. So it's halfway in between 18 and 21, and that is 19.5, and that is Q2, the median. Q1, which is the lower quartile, is the median of the lower half. So there's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 numbers in the lower half. That's an odd amount, so I'm on a number. Q1 is equal to 17. There's similarly 5 numbers in the upper half, so on a number again since that's an odd number, and Q3 is 26. Now, two formulas that won't be given to you in the exam, you need to remember them, is the interquartile range, which is Q3 minus Q1, and what was asked of us in this question was the semi-interquartile range. So if you think about a semicircle, that's half a circle. So the semi-interquartile range is just half of the interquartile range, so that's going to be Q3 minus Q1 over 2. Okay, I just put those numbers in then. So 26 minus 17 over 2. 26 minus 17 is 9. 9 over 2 is 4.5. So to summarise, for the first round, the median Q2 is 19.5, which is a measure of the typical value, and the semi-interquartile range is equal to 4.5. Which is a measure of spread. Okay, the question then says that in the second round, scores are taken again, and the median this time is 26, and the semi-interquartile range is 2.5. The question asks then for two valid comparisons between the scores in the first and second round, so we're going to compare the medians and compare the SIQR. So a comment on the median. So a numerical comparison, a comment about it being on average, and a numerical comparison and the context of the question. So on average, the scores in the second round were higher since 26 is greater than 19.5. We're now going to make a comment on the semi-interquartile range, which is a comment on the spread. So the SIQR in the first round was 4.5, the SIQR in the second round was 2.5. So the scores were more spread out in the first round since, and that's because the SIQR was 4.5 in the first round, so it was bigger, since 4.5 is greater than 2.5. If you're asked to comment on the interquartile range, similar to the SIQR, the semi-interquartile range, that's also a measure of statistical spread.